Welcome troops, it's me, the Tactical Brit, and today I'm bringing you the brand new Infiltrator Elite class. Now, this is an elite class that's not much like any other you've played before. In the past, most elite classes have had a very clear defined role as very heavily aggressive players. You either have a really big LMG, a really big club, or an SMG, and a lot of armor to try and hold off enemies that are coming your way, or a flamethrower, which is equally as handy. But in a real big shift away from the meta that we're used to in elite classes, the Infiltrator plays a much more supportive role in Battlefield 1, and this especially plays a key role in the Turning Tides DLC maps, where it's very clear that his uses are defined. Rather than being an out-and-out aggressor, the new Infiltrator is much more like a supportive player, the kind of player that can hang back and rain down fire from afar and have an impact on objectives without directly being on them himself. Now, this is very much represented in his arsenal. You'll be equipped with a Martini-Henry grenade launcher, which will allow you to fire grenades across distances to take out targets, emplacements, and other enemies. A secondary weapon in a form of a sawed-off shotgun, which will allow you to protect yourself in close quarters engagements, and as the class name kind of presumes, allow you to infiltrate behind enemy lines and be effective up close and personal. Alongside this, you are provided a flare gun, but this flare gun is no normal flare gun because it will allow you to call in strikes from the air onto the ground that can be incredibly deadly and take out multiple enemies with explosive power. And you'll also be equipped with a Heliograph, which is in effect a spawn beacon that you can place down on the map and have teammates spawn upon. Alongside this, you're also provided 2 smoke grenades and a gas mask, and more or less this is probably one of the most supportive tactical elite classes going in the game, purely down to the versatility that it offers. Now, if you're looking for something that's a bit more further ranged and a bit more back in the distance, you have the combination of the grenade launcher and the flare gun. This will allow you to sit behind an offensive line and more or less call in fire on enemies from a distance. The grenade launcher can take out emplacements, it can take out enemies, it can take out multiple amounts of people, and the flare gun will allow you to literally call in strikes without needing to be anywhere near the present zone that it lands. Combine this with an offensive push with teammates that are around you, and you have the ability to be almost a supportive kind of elite class. Now, in contrast to that, you also have other options as well. You have the Heliograph, which will allow you to place a spawn beacon down even behind the lines of enemies, hence the Infiltrator name. This will allow you to push into objectives, push into trench systems, and drop down a spawn beacon for your teammates to spawn on, which will really cause trouble in people that are entrenched in certain locations. This more upfront and personal gadget, combined with 2 smoke grenades and a sawed-off shotgun, means that an Infiltrator could more or less take out an entire trench line by themselves if they wanted to. They could also take out an entire objective by themselves with the use of a spawn beacon, smoke grenades, and shotguns to both take out enemies on the objective through confusing means of the smoke grenades, using the close quarters weapon, and then offering a safe space for friendlies to spawn and capture objectives. It's really incredible what you can achieve with this elite class in terms of both being somebody who's in the distance raining down fire, but also somebody who can jump into objectives and trenches with improved health and maneuverability to take on enemies. It's also worth noting that the Infiltrator class has an improved spotting ability as well, which will allow you to sit back, spot enemies, use the flare gun, and take out scores and scores of people. On the Turning Tides maps especially, there are lots of open spaces that are greeted by lots of close quarters spaces. You'll find yourselves on open beaches heading into trench systems, or having to go over the top of a trench system to run into another trench system. And especially on maps like Achibaba, where there are lots of different layers and lots of cover systems in between big open spaces, having a class that can both rain down fire from a distance and then jump into those close quarters spaces is especially important. The Infiltrator class can more or less soften up a position or an objective by calling in fire from the grenade launcher and flare gun, and then actually invade that position and get in behind enemy lines after taking out some of the opponents that are already there. It's really great that this can almost be like a one-man army trope. It can kind of push forward your teammates by giving them spawn beacons, but it can also be the person on the field laying down the effective fire and effective kills to capture objectives in the first place. If you want to be super effective, you have to do exactly that. Make use of the grenade launcher and flare gun in order to take out opponents that are in large quantities and surrounding objectives, or perhaps particular emplacements, and then use your shotgun smoke grenade combination to actually get in behind those objectives and take them on yourself. You also have use of the spawn beacon to get people to come on side with you and push an offensive into objectives and into tight spaces. But what if you come up against the Infiltrator? Now that's a big question, because with a class that has so much firepower and the ability to do so much, it almost feels as though you have to take care of the Infiltrator when you see him on the field. And taking care of the Infiltrator isn't necessarily very difficult. Whilst it does have improved movement speed, increased armor, and of course increased spotting, the Infiltrator actually has a significantly less amount of armor than some of the elite classes you're used to, and it's almost kind of easy to kill. If you have 2 or 3 people ganging up on them and laying down a lot of fire into the one Infiltrator, you can actually take them out pretty quickly. They don't have the ability to self-heal because they don't have any equipment such as medical crates, so more or less they're reliant on teammates providing them with health and providing them with ammunition to keep going. Now, because it is an Infiltrator class, it will likely be isolated when it does take you on. The Infiltrator will try to jump into trenches and take you on, it will try to get in behind the sort of front line itself in order to be effective, and because of that, it's very unlikely that they're going to have a medic there available to keep supplying them with health and keep healing them. And it gives you the opportunity to gang up on an Infiltrator with 2 or 3 people and take them on very effectively. Making use of explosives as well is a fantastic option, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting close range considering they do have a double-barreled shotgun. So guys, that's it for the Infiltrator class. Let me know what you think about him in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video.